Online students, semi-audible. Please confirm. Okay, great. Audible at the last. Okay. See, so we were working on this payment gateway thing. We were trying to integrate the Razor-based payment gateway into our project. How things are actually working, let's try to find out. So three things are basically there, sir. Please concentrate for now. Okay. So what all things we are having is, this is, let's suppose, the front end part. Maybe this is the client, that means the browser. We are also having the server side where our entire code will be deployed. Maybe this is our server. And we will also be having the Razor page. Maybe this is the Razor Pay application. Okay. So these are the three major components we are having. Firstly, what we have is the pay button we are having, right? The normal pay button which we have created, that button we will have. So let's suppose on the front end, this pay button is present. Now, the role of this pay button is to initiate the payment, to start the process of the payment. Okay. So maybe I will give a short note over here. Maybe this is to initiate the payment. Maybe I'll say initiate payment. Somehow what we have managed to do is, whenever someone is going to click on this pay, we are trying to redirect the control to an API with the URL called as create order. Okay. So whenever someone is going to hit on this, someone is going to click on the pay button. Firstly, in the same HTML JavaScript file only, what we have done is one function we have created called as create order. From that function, what we are doing is we are redirecting the control to our backend where one create or /create order we have coded for. So from here, basically what is happening is control is coming over here. This is our /create order. This is what we are doing. Now over here in our backend, what we are having is we are having a method called as create order. So here we have the create order method. Now what are we doing inside this method? We have pasted the code from the Razor Pay's website. Basically, we are trying to create one object of Razor Pay client. Its object we are trying to create. Then we are also trying to get one order object from it, right? We are sending all the information like how much amount this order is for, what is the name and all. If you remember in the HTML page, many information we have filled, right? The name, the organization name, some notes is there, many more information are there. All those information are going to go where? From here. All that information is going to go to our Razor Page website, to the Razor Page server. All this information is going to go. What is Razor Pay going to give us? Razor Pay is going to give us an object of the order type. One object for order it is going to give us. So here it is going to verify whether the order is correct or not. It is going to create one order ID. For every request which is going to come over here, one unique order ID is going to be created by Razor Pay. Once this is done, what will happen is it is going to send back. What it is going to send back? It's like this was, if this was the request, this is like the response. So what it is going to return? It is going to return one object of the order. Order object it is going to return. So here in our method, what we have received is we have received one order object. If you remember, we are telling also, what are we telling? Return order.toString. Since the return type of this method is string, what we are doing? The same order only we are returning, but in the form of string we are returning that. Anyways, same thing we are using over here. If you remember, there we were fetching the order ID, all those things we were fetching from the response only. Now what is going to happen is, now that form we are going to get, that payment form we are going to get. So here, next thing what we will be getting is this checkout form. Maybe this is our checkout form. This is where we will be asked to maybe scan the QR code or enter the OTP. And finally, what we will be doing is, finally, we will be doing the actual payment. So let's suppose someone is trying to pay using a wallet, and maybe the OTP is 1234, something like this. After entering the OTP, once again, what will happen is they are going to click on this pay button. Okay, they are going to click on this pay button. Now, try to understand very carefully. Now, once we are trying to check out, once we are doing the actual payment, this time the control will not be going to our server. Okay, control will not be going to our server. Rather, control will be directly going to the server for Razorpay. Okay, where will control go? Control will go directly to the server of Razorpay when we are trying to do the actual payment, when the checkout form we are trying to pay. Here what is going to happen is Razorpay is going to check whether money is coming or not. Many things it is going to check. For this request, this is what? Again, this is some sort of a request only. This is once again some sort of a request only. Again, what Razorpay is going to do is, Razorpay is of course going to send back a response. Razorpay will be sending back the response. Along with this response, many things Razorpay is going to send. Razorpay is going to send something like the payment ID. Perhaps it is also going to send what? The signature. Order ID also. For which order have we accepted the payment and all. All those things will be sent via this one. Now here, what we can do is, as of now, we have done till this much. We have created the order, we have made this checkout form, we have also done the payment, but we have not verified whether that payment is happening correctly or not. That verification we have not done yet. Now what we will be doing is, over here, one more functionality we will be adding, the method to do the verification. Here we are going to do what? Here now we are going to do the verification. For that, one extra function which I deleted yesterday from my HTML file, that function I am going to add. Not only that, here also the actual logical coding will happen where it will be happening in the backend only. So from here, maybe once again, we will redirect the control to our backend. Here maybe we will code for something like /verify. Okay. So one new method also we will be creating in our backend called as verify. This code also we will not be writing. This code also has already been given by the Razorpay documents. How you need to verify, how you can verify the signature, payment ID, all that. It has already been given by the Razorpay. We simply have to use that. Now, once verification is done, two options are there. What are the two options? Either the payment would be successful or the payment will be not successful. So from here, once again, control will be going to Razorpay to check whether the payment was successful or not. And the result we are going to get over here. Once we are going to get the result, we can check or we can redirect the control wherever we want. If the payment is successful, perhaps some message we can show, or to a particular page we can redirect. If the payment is not successful, maybe we will log out the user, something like that we are going to do. But as of now, this is the flow. As of now, what we have managed to do was, once again, I am revising for you. This is our front end. This is maybe our application, whatever we have coded on the Spring Boot, especially the backend part, and that is the Razorpay server. On our HTML page, as soon as we click on the pay button, what are we doing? We are calling a method called as create order. Control will be going to this create order method present in our backend. From the create order method, what are we doing? We are calling the Razorpay client. We are creating its object, asking it for the order object. It is returning us one object of the order type. That object is containing many things. How much money this order is for, maybe what is the order ID, all those information we are going to get. Now using that order ID and all, what we are doing is one checkout form, one payment form we are displaying for the user, where the QR code, the different choices of paying by debit card, credit card, everything is available. User here is going to fill in the required information and the user is going to click on pay. Once the user is going to click on pay, we don't have any functionality in our application to verify the payment, to accept the payment and all. So where will the control go? Control will be going directly to the website, to the server of Razorpay. Here they will try to accept the payment and all, and in the response they are going to return the signature, the payment ID, order ID, all these things which we are going to receive over here. This much we have already coded. Now what we will be doing is, whether that payment is successful or not, whether we have received the money or not, that is what we have to see. Many a times what happens for us, the money gets debited from our account. For us it will be showing the payment is successful, but on the other side they might have not received the payment. That also happens sometimes in the real world also. Here also it is possible that that might happen. So in order to make sure that the complete payment, we have sent the money also, they have received the money also, what we need to do is we need to do the verification as well. That is the code which we are going to do as of now. So for verification, what we are going to do here also, in our HTML file also, we will be writing some JavaScript code, and then we will be redirecting the code just as earlier we redirected the code to the backend. Here also we will be redirecting the code to the backend. Here again, we will be taking whose help? We again don't know how to verify the payments and all. Again, we will be taking the help of the Razorpay to verify the payment. Two possibilities will be there, whether the payment will be successful or it will be not successful. We will be writing our logic according to that itself. Okay. As of now, just for reference, you can have it in your notebook, how this payment gateway is working. Meanwhile, please open that documents which we were reading yesterday, that Razor Pay integration with Java. There, try to read about verification. Okay, see guys, please see here for a moment. Now, yesterday's function only, the create order function which we have created. If you try to notice inside this function, for the handler, what we are having is, we are having another function. What is this function accepting? It is accepting the response. Basically, it is accepting the response which is being sent by the Razor Pay. Okay, so basically order object will be received over here. Now, what inside this function, what we are doing? We are calling another function called as verify payment. As of now, we have not created this function, but we are calling this one. And what all things it is accepting? It is accepting the response dot Razor Pay order ID. It is accepting the payment ID. It is also accepting the signature. Okay, signature is something which verifies whether the payment is valid or not. For example, for our ATM, whenever we are using whatever pin we enter, that is like our signature. Okay, digital signature is also there. Anyways, so now we have to code forward this verify payment function we will be coding for. Not only that, over here, these two lines, if you will see, we are having what? New razor pay. When do we use the new keyword? Whenever object has to be created. So this is where we are creating the object. And what are we passing in its constructor? Options. What are these options basically? If you see, where it went. See, all these things, see, this is the variable called as options. Inside option, all these things, what is the key, what is the amount, name, description, order ID, everything is a part of what? Everything is a part of the options only. So this is basically the line RGP1.open. This is the line which is basically opening the checkout form for us. While opening the checkout form, what all things it is considering? All these information, all these options also it is considering. Okay. Suppose you want to change the color. As of now, I think in the red color somewhat it is appearing. If you want to change that color, from here also you can change the theme. Okay. The name, whatever is appearing predefined, those things also you can change. Okay. Point is, as of now, what we will be doing is we will be coding for the other function, that is for the verification part. In the backend also, what we have done as of now, we have created the order. I told you, right? First, for creating order, we are going to receive the request. We will be forwarding the same request to the Razorpay. This is what we are doing. We are forwarding the same request to the Razorpay. And this is where we are getting the orders object. Okay, this is the line where we are getting the order object. Okay, we are returning the same order object where we are returning basically again back to our payment page only. Okay, so let's see the further things as well. Again, this is the Razorpay's document. Checkout option we have already added. If I scroll down, we need to do the verification now. Okay, see, this is what we will be reading about for a moment. Verify payment signature. Again, code is also given already for us. This is the code, how we can verify the signature or not. Same thing, what we have to do is same thing, we have to use it in our Java code as well. Three things will be important over here. Again, the key secret, this is going to be unique for everyone, whatever we have generated from Razorpay account. Few other things are also there, like for verify payment status. This we can also verify in our Razorpay account. I showed you, go to Razorpay, see the transactions. There also you would be able to verify. Anyways, this code also I have put in my account. Many of you already copied it without me telling to copy. So extra you copied. The same code I have embedded here as well. This is the code which we copied yesterday. This code I told you to avoid for that time because we were not doing the verification. We were just creating the order. So this is the code we will be using. So again, same place, my GitHub, it is available. Again, I have also not written this entire code. Some code I have written, for example, this window.location.href. This is basically to send the request to the backend. To the backend, we are trying to send the request to a URL called as payment failure. It is playing the same role as href. Okay. So this code for the verify payment, I will request you to copy from here and paste it in your JavaScript file. Sorry, this HTML file, payment HTML file. Who is going to call this verify payment? If you see over here, in its response only, as soon as this page is going to get the response, it is going to call the verify payment. It is also going to pass order ID, payment ID, as well as the signature. Same three things they are passing, it is accepting over here. Please have this as well in your payment page. Once again, my GitHub was github.com/deep473. The name of the repository is PROJ. Go to repositories. Here we will have PROJ. Here you will find pay.html. Other code we already have. This verify payment code we require. Again, we have to put it after the previous code, but before the end of the script tag. Okay, see guys, this is the code we basically need if we want to verify the signature. Obviously, this one is the backend code. So what we will have to do is from here, as you can see, where are we redirecting the code to something called as verify. For this verify, we are also passing what? Three information we are passing. We are passing the order ID, the payment ID, as well as the signature we are trying to pass. So maybe in the payment controller, we will also be coding for this thing called as verify. So again, one new method we will create over here for verification. Maybe slash verify. Maybe public string verify. Three things, whatever three things we are passing over here, same three things we need to accept over there also. So order ID, payment ID and signature. Make sure the spellings are same. Okay, whatever spelling is here, same spelling should be there also, including lowercase and uppercase. So maybe string order ID, maybe string. In the same order how we have passed over there, we have to accept over here. Payment ID, and maybe string signature. All of them we will be accepting as request parameters. Our method is ready. We have to write the code. Again, code. This code we have to write over there. Here again, you will have to change. You will have to provide your key ID, your key secret. Okay. This code also will be available. Better don't type while typing, mistakes can be there. Again, don't copy the full code. Only what is required, only what I am telling, do that. This part you can have. Again, please remember, you will have to change this. Here, you have to give your key and your secret. Okay, your key ID and your secret you have to give. Here also. Three places, please remember. 1, 2, and 3. Please remember to replace this. Whatever import is required, you can import. Please see here for a moment. How to proceed, I will tell you. See guys, once the payment is verified, what is going to happen is control is going to go back over here to this verify payment. Two options will be there after the payment is done, and if the payment is valid, either it can be successful. If the payment is successful, this is the URL we are going to hit. That means for payment that's a dash success, we have to code in the backend. Again, payment failure, this is going to happen when the payment is going to fail. So now what you have to do is, if the payment is successful, you have to turn the user into a premium user. Okay. Once again, I am repeating what we have to do. First of all, try to get this output, whether you are able to send the control to payment success or not, whether you are able to send the control to payment failure or not. Once this is done, for payment success, how we will be coding? Again, in the backend only, here only we will be coding. Please don't copy this code. This is easy code. Okay. This code is our logic. So here only we will be coding for both the things. One for payment success. Maybe I'll directly copy so that spelling mistake is not there. If payment success, again, this will be a mapping itself. If this is the case, we have to create a service and update the user into a premium user. Okay. Update to premium user. In the other case, let's suppose the payment has failed. For this also, we will have to do the coding. What coding we are going to do for this one? Maybe we will simply redirect to login. Login. As well as maybe give failure message, give, or failure message will already be given, because here what we are doing is we are using the alert payment failed. So if payment is successful, one pop-up box will appear. If payment is not successful, also one pop-up box is going to appear. After that, what we have to do, that we will be deciding in the backend. So what we will be doing is, if the payment was successful, we will be creating a new service, change the value of this one. What variable we have taken for premium? I will just check. Is premium we have taken, it was of Boolean type. By default, it will be false. But if the payment was successful for that particular user, we will turn them into the premium user. I think this code also we have already done. Where is that users controller? Okay, that code exactly we have not done yet. We are just checking whether the user was premium or not. Anyways, so one new service we will have to create, which is going to update our user object. What in the update we have to do? We have to turn them into the premium user. Basically, we are going to fetch the object and turn its value for is premium into true. Again, as of now, assume that somehow you are going to get the email ID of the user. How to get the email ID? That part I will tell you. But rest of the code you try. At least try this much first. Don't forget to change the key ID. Okay, see, please concentrate for 5 minutes, then you can continue. So we will be coding for this payment success. Again, geniuses, please watch here. Later you will come with the same error. So now this, whenever we are calling this payment success, this is a normal request. Basically, we are not sending any data. Okay. In this case, in the other cases, we were sending some data. Here also, although we are not accepting anything, but many information will be coming from the front end to this particular method. So better keep it as post mapping itself. But here for payment success, we don't need the post mapping. It is simply a redirect. So we can use get mapping over here. Okay. And I will provide the URL as well. Maybe the URL is payment success. Maybe I will define a method public string. Perhaps the name of the method also I'll keep it same. I'll follow camel case. Okay. This method, as of now, let's suppose it is going to get the mail ID from somewhere. How again? I will tell you. String email. This is basically the email ID of the user whose payment has been successful. Okay. How to get that? We will see. Again, as of now, this particular code is not going to work. How it will work? That also later. As of now, let's see the logic. So once we have got the email ID of the user, what we are going to do is we will be trying to get the user's object. Do we have any method as such, any service which is going to give us that? Let's see in the services. Add user, no. Get user method is there. This is the method which is accepting the email ID and returning us what? Returning us the user's object. So this method we can use. So what I will do is I'll first need a reference for the users service rather. So user service one reference I'll create. I need Spring Boot to give it an object. So auto wired, of course. First thing what I will do is I will use my service to get the user by passing the mail ID. Once we have got the user as well, it will give us one object of the user's type. Guys, please remember USER user. It is also a predefined interface in Java. So by mistake, please do not import that one. User is also a predefined class also. Please don't import that also. Import, while importing, make sure you are importing the user's class which you have created. Okay. So see the package name com.example.demo.entities. Then import the particular class. So maybe this is our user object. What we have to do? Only one change we need to make to the user object. What is that? We have to change the value of premium. So I'll say user dot set premium. I'll set it to what? Set it to true. Now what we have got? We have fetched the user's object from the database. By default, the value for is premium will be false. We have turned it to true. Still one more work is left to do. As of now, the object will be present on the heap segment. For us, we have updated the object. Same object we need to save in the database as well. So what we will have to do is, do we have any service to update the object? Let's see. No, till now we don't have any service to update the user. So one new service we will create maybe. Maybe what I will do is I'll say service dot update user. And maybe we are going to pass the user's object. Again, this service we don't have at the moment. We will be creating this one. So I'll create the method here. In the implementation also, I'll have to do the same thing. Add unimplemented method. Okay. Only one job is there, save the object. So I'll say repo dot save my user object. That's it. This will be the update user. Once we have updated the user, maybe we will redirect the control, return. Maybe to login page, we will tell the user to log in one more time. Something like this. Okay. So what we are trying to do over here, please try to understand. If the payment is successful, what we are trying to do is we are receiving the email ID of the user for whom payment was successful. Then what we are doing? Same user, we are trying to fetch from the database with the help of our service. Once we have got the particular user, we are changing one value, that is for the premium. We have first its value was false. Now we are making it as true. After making the value inside the object as true, this updated object we want to be saved in the database. So for that, we have created a new service called as update user. We are passing the updated object. Control will be going to the service implementation. Here, using the repository, we are saving the object in the database as well. This is what we are doing. Once we have done all this, what we are also doing is we are redirecting the control to the login page so that the next time the user tries to log in, they will log in as a paid user, as a premium user. Okay. Implement this much. Same thing we can also code for the payment failure as well, quickly. Here we don't need anything. Maybe this is for payment failure. Or maybe you can also redirect to some payment error page, whatever you feel like. Or again, redirect them back to the payment page so that they can try doing the payment again. Anything you feel like you can do. Don't run your application at the moment. It might result in error because we have done nothing to give that method the email ID. Okay, please see here, everyone. Now the thing is, the last thing we need to implement over here, that is the concept of sessions. In another class, I told you one thing, that from the time we log into a web application till the time we log out, what happens is all the activities we are performing on that website or web application, everything is getting tracked. That tracking of our activity, that tracking of user activity is possible only with the help of something called as the sessions. So what the sessions, obviously, since we are using it in Java in an object-oriented programming language, that session will also be represented in the form of an object. So as soon as you are going to log in, what is going to happen is one session object will be created. We are not creating it. Spring Boot will be creating it for us. Okay. The moment we log in, what is going to happen? Spring Boot is going to create one session object. It is always going to be there. We simply have to know how to use it. So now what we will be doing is for login, what all information is the user giving? User is giving two information basically. One is the email and one is the password. If the validation is successful, that means if the user happens to be a valid user, if the credentials, email and password were correct, what we are going to do is we will start maintaining the session for the user. So using Spring Boot, we are going to fetch this session object and we are going to tell that, okay, this is the email ID for the particular user who is trying to perform all the activity. How do we do that? I told you earlier that this session object we can access using something called as HTTP session. Okay, using HTTP session, we will be able to access it. So maybe one reference of HTTP session we will create as session. Using this only, we will be able to, refer to that session object. Maybe this is the session object. If you remember, whenever we wanted to send data from the back end to the front end, what we were doing? We were using the model object. Inside the model, what we were doing? We were adding a new attribute, right? We were giving it some name, we were giving it some value. Similarly, here also what we are going to do is we are going to set some attributes for our session as well. Maybe what we will do is, and again, why we are doing this? Why do we need which user is doing the activity? Because all the users, we don't want to turn them into premium users. Only selected users, the user who has done the payment, only them we want to turn into the premium users. If we want to turn a user into premium user, we must know something about the user. What we are knowing? We are knowing the email ID, right? So what we will be doing is inside this session object, we will be creating something like this. Maybe we will be adding one attribute called as email. And whichever user has logged in, let's suppose the user who has logged in this case happens to be maybe d@k.com. Let's suppose this is the email ID of the user who has tried to log in. So this email ID, what we are going to do is we are going to maintain it inside the session, maybe d@k.com. Now, anywhere throughout this journey, whenever we will want to know, okay, which user is trying to do this activity, which user is going to get the premium, for which user we should turn them into a premium user, everything can be done with the help of this email attribute, which will be present inside this session object. Method names will be very simple. Whenever we want to get this particular value, we will say, okay, session.get attribute email. Give me the attributes value whose name happens to be email. Okay, so this is the process which we are going to follow. So again, as I was telling, from the time we log in, this session object will be maintained. Now try to think about the logout logic as well. What will happen when we are going to log out? Basically, when we log out, what happens is the session object is destroyed. Okay, what will log out do? Log out will make sure that the session object is destroyed. So if you want to implement the logout feature in our web application, we simply have to, finish or delete this session object. For that, predefined method is also there. Session.invalidate if we are going to do. Our session object is going to be destroyed as well. Okay. So first, let's do one thing. A couple of places we will need this session object as of now. Wherever we have written the code for login, I think the /validate code, wherever we have written, There what we will have to do in the same method, we will also have to accept one reference of the HTTP session type. Again, we will not need to create our object. Spring Boot is going to give us the session object. We just have to accept it and use it. Once we are validating the user, once we have checked that the user is a valid user, to the session object, we are going to add the attribute called as email, and that method is already having the email ID and password. We don't need both the information, we only need the email. Whatever email ID we have validated, we are going to add to the session object. And where the payment is successful, as of now I told you, okay, let's take email. Using the email we are doing it, but there also directly email we are not going to get. There also what we are going to get is the session object. From the session object we will have to extract the email and then make the user a premium user. Okay, this is what we are going to implement now. Just for reference, have this, maybe method name I will write. Okay, see here. So first I have gone to this users controller. Okay. This is where we have the method for login, that is for validating. And in this only what we are going to do is we are going to maintain the session as well. So along with these two parameters, one extra parameter I will be taking. Maybe I'll say HTTP session. Import it from jakarta.servlet.http. Okay, it is an interface. I'll call the reference as session. Once we have validated, once the user is a valid user, sorry, not here, maybe here. Once the user is validated, doesn't matter they are admin or normal user, we can maintain the session for everyone. Later on, maybe if you want to add navigation bars and show the name of the user as well, that will be helpful. So what I will do is I'll say session dot. I think we have set attribute. I will be setting an attribute called as email and passing to it whatever is the value present inside our variable called as email. This is what we will be doing over here in our login related method. Okay. Coming to the payment controller as well. In the payment success, what we will be doing is we are not directly going to accept this string email. Rather, we will be accepting one reference of the HTTP session. An email directly we are not going to get. How we are going to get? Maybe I'll say something like string email is equal to session dot get attribute. I want the attribute with the name as email. I think this give we will have to do casting as well. Okay. As I was saying, the return type of this get attribute method is what? The return type is object. It is going to return one object of the object class. But we want to downcast it into the string type, then use it. Okay. So these are the only two changes we have to do. Okay. So please make these two changes, everyone. In the users controller and in the payment controller. Yes, sure. Think on that. Other options are you getting, Atul? It's fine. That's from razor base side. You see is apart from this, one more method we created, explore songs. There also I told that, okay, as of now, let's see that, okay, somehow we are going to get the email ID. That somehow here as well is going to be the session only. Here also we will be receiving the email how using the sessions itself. So here also same change. We will not be getting the email directly. Rather, we will be getting the session object. And from the session object, we will have to extract the email. Again, casting we will have to do. Not exactly songs, Vishal. Whatever you will ask it to store, it will store. Whatever you want to store inside session object, you can set attribute for that. Okay, see, is two things you need to do before coming to tomorrow's class. First thing is try to work on the logout as well. On every page except for login and registration, you must have a logout button. What will that logout button do? As I told, it is going to invalidate the session, redirect the control to the login page. Okay, I repeat myself. We must have the logout button on every page. What that logout button is going to do? It is going to invalidate the session and redirect the control to the login page. That is one thing. Second thing, what you should do is try to add a navigation bar on every page. For example, on admin's homepage, what we are giving, different buttons only we are providing, right? But try to also give them in a navigation bar. Okay, in the form of a navigation bar. The navigation bar should also have maybe a logo if you want. A simple logo, try to design, you will get from the internet. Then apart from that, it must have whichever user has logged in the navigation bar, always it should be displaying that, okay, well, for example, let's suppose me as a user, Deep has logged in. So it should always keep telling, okay, welcome Deep. Something like that should be displayed in the navigation bar. Apart from that, the different menu options should also be present on every page. So logout button and navigation bar, these two things should be present on all the pages except for the login and registration page. Okay. Please be ready with this much before tomorrow's class. Okay. We'll meet tomorrow. Whatever has been covered, struggle with this for one day. Tomorrow, try to give me the working project. Okay. Till whatever has been covered. Functionality wise, we have done everything. Only part is we have two things. One is the CSS part we can improve. Second is we will also be doing moving this project to React as well. So revise whatever in React you have learned. I think till Redux everyone has learned in React. Redux everyone has learned. Okay. Revise that much and come to tomorrow's class. Tomorrow or day after tomorrow, we will start moving our project to React as well. Okay. Fine. You can mark your attendance as well. August A1 batch, the React class, as I announced, will not be there. Whatever the testing part of React is remaining a little bit, I will be covering that during the project itself. Okay. So all of you can go home, complete the project.